I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Peabody City Council Finance Committee. Present for the committee this evening are Councilors Gamache, Gould, Manning, Martin, Turco, and myself. Council McGann is chair. Also present this evening are Councilors Peach, Higgins, and Rosignol. We have 3 items on the agenda tonight. First item, amends Section 18-21 entitled Rates of Compensation for Full-Time Positions Not Subject to Collective Bargaining, Public Works Foreman, Water. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Q. Good evening, councilors. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy to be here today on a couple of items, along with City Finance Director Mike Gingras. The first item is a request for a salary adjustment for the Public Works Foreman for water. I think everybody knows Mike Velez and his job responsibilities with the city. He's been with the city a long time, and he has the difficult job of being the one during sewer breaks at all times of the year, all hours, all seasons, of jumping into broken sewer pipes and handling that with he and his team. For last number of years, his salary has been at the $89,000 and change, but he's also been receiving a stipend of approximately $18,000 that he's been receiving for a number of years as well. Like I've asked for in the past when we review salaries and job responsibilities, every year I try to look at a number of positions and try to make sure we're doing the right things and look for improvements that can be made. You may recall a couple of years ago with Frank Guillen, our IT director, there were a number of stipends that we put into his base pay, and that was done a couple of years back, and I felt this was a good opportunity to bring this forward, that this stipend of $18,000 would be put into his base, bringing his salary up to approximately $107,000, which would put it in line with the senior water treatment chemist, the plant superintendent. As you know, we have a plant superintendent at the Walsh Water Treatment Plant over on Coolidge Street, and then we also have a superintendent of the plant over at the Winona Water Treatment Plant, as well as putting it in line with a couple of other positions that I felt were appropriate. It's been asked to me by a couple of councilors, a good question, that if we were to do this, would the stipend then be given to somebody else? I can go out on the record right now that this would not be a stipend that would go to anybody else. This stipend has just been specific to this position. Rolling it into the base, that stipend then would be put away and not moved to somebody else within that department or within the Department of Public Works realm. Happy to answer any questions. I thought this was the right decision and a fair move to assist a longtime employee and make the salary a little bit more compatible and comparable to other positions in the city that have similar job responsibilities, overseeing teams of employees, and I wanted to bring that forward tonight for hopeful adoption. I'm happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for the record, we've been joined by Councilors Daigle and Melville. Councilor Gamache.
Yes, thank you. As was stated at the last meeting, that the ordinance was submitted for a Public Works Foreman water/sewer. The sewer is not part of that job description, so I would ask that we strike the word sewer, and I'll read as follows. An ordinance amending Section 18-21 entitled Rates of Compensation for Full-Time Positions Not Subject to Collective Bargaining. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Peabody as follows. Section 1, the ordinance establishing...
Councilor Gould, before you make the motion, we may have another couple of other councilors that want to comment. Do you have any other comments other than the correction? Thank you, Councilor Gamache. Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilman Gamache, my apologies. I didn't know you were going to jump right into the motion. I would have threw my hand up. Mayor, so yeah, this makes perfect sense to just transfer out the stipend. This all comes out of the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund, correct?
Yes, it does.
So when we do budgets, where would we, not that I don't trust anybody here, I was just, when I'm looking to, I'm obviously going to see the salary line items go up, with the 18,000. Where would I see the reduction? The stipends are also in the salary line, so it should be even, should be an even.
Yeah, there should be no additional money coming by this vote. It would be the same salary that he has been receiving, so there shouldn't be any increase in salary or increase in the number.
Okay, I just assumed that the stipends were under a different line item, so that's what I would have looked for. The second question, does this create any issue for us? And I think this kind of harkens to what Councilor Gamache was talking about. I think these are level, there's levels assigned to these positions, like level 9, 10, 11, you know, similar to my workplace. So anybody at the same level with Mike Velez as the Public Works foreman, does that create an issue with us with those other people at that same level? And forgive me if that's not the way, I think they're listed as levels, like secretarial or at level 4 or whatever it may be.
Yeah, under our city ordinances, salary ordinances, there's different levels that would be groups of people. So, no, I don't think that this would affect other similarly situated. I felt that, and we could look at that for some other positions as well. We're constantly doing that. We typically do that as we lead up to the budget. But I felt this salary set in nicely with those other groups. And those employees, those water treatment plant supervisors are at their max. I think all of those employees that would be in this level or group would be at their max. So I don't think it would have a major effect, but that's certainly something we could look at other positions in the future.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Turco. Any other committee members or other councilors? Seeing none, Councilor Gamache.
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. As stated, an ordinance amending Section 18-21 entitled Rates of Compensation for Full-Time Positions Not Subject to Collective Bargaining, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Peabody as follows. Section 1, the ordinance establishing compensation and classification plan is hereby amended as follows. The Code of the City of Peabody is adopted on January 23, 1969, and amended is hereby further amended by deleting from 18-21, the ordinance establishing a compensation and classification plan for Public Works Foreman Water, which was effective 7/1/2025 of $89,102, and replacing it with Public Works Foreman Water, effective March 1st, 2025, $107,302. So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Gamache. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Turco,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Manning Martin, McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Council.
Next item on the agenda, item B, transfer of funds, police salaries in an amount of $185,000, police overtime in an amount of $70,000, and police longevity in an amount of $30,000. Mr. Gingras.
Thank you. This transfer request will fund retroactive pay for police captains, primarily for police captains who've been out for 2.5 years, over 2.5 years. And there's some cleanup on some longevity and some other rate changes for some of the other officers in the department.
Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mr. Gingrich. Is this contract now settled, or it is, and everybody's signed off on it?
Well, it's not quite finished, but it will be shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Turco. Any other committee members? Any other councilors? Seeing none, Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to transfer from budgeted reserve account number 1000132057410 in the amount of $201,288.03, and also unreserved fund balance, which is free cash, account number 1000000359001, in the amount of $83,711.97 for a total of $285,000 to police salaries, account number 1000210051110, in the amount of $185,000. Police overtime, 1000210051110, the amount of $70,000. In police longevity, account number 1000210051180, in the amount of $30,000 for a total of $285,000. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors heard the motion from Councilor Gould. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Turco,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Manning Martin, McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5 to 0.
Next item on the agenda, item C, transfer of funds, Rousselot site assessment, an amount of $82,500. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening again, Council. Very happy to bring this item forward to you, and so I'm not going to rehash the Rousselot transaction. I think everybody's very familiar with what we're doing moving forward. We have the approval to move forward with the potential purchase and sale agreement and a potential closing to purchase the approximately 165 acres of the Rousselot property. As part of that, which was recommended to us by Weston Sampson and is just good business practice in terms of purchasing any property, would to do the appropriate environmental testing. We did complete a Phase 1 environmental test and received data and information that we were looking for in order to move forward, which we felt comfortable with. The next round, though, would be the Phase 2 environmental testing, which is a little bit more of a detailed examination of the well fields and the soil and the area at different parts of the purchasing site. We feel this is necessary to make sure we have a clear understanding of what we're purchasing and making sure that it fits in with what the purpose of this transaction would be. So I wanted to bring forward this to you for the to take money from the bond premiums reserved for projects account to utilize and sign the agreement. I did have a request and wanted to, Mr. Chairman, ask if we could revise the number. Right now it's the $82,500. That is for the site work, all the land itself. There's an additional $56,500, which would be for all the actual wells and facilities and buildings that is there. We felt that if we're going to do the full test, if we're going to do the testing, we should do the full testing, not only just the land, but also the buildings that are there and any other items that should be tested. So the total would be at $139,000 that I'd be asking for approval. And again, that would cover the testing for the full 165 acres of the soil, the well fields, the water, all of that, as well as the additional money. The additional $56,000 would be for the testing of the buildings and all the just the property that is structures. So wanted to ask if we could bring that forward. Again, it would be taken out of the same bond premiums. We would move forward with the work with the council approval. I would sign the agreement and they would start work, we figure, in mid-March. We're looking at we had to push back a little bit because of this work. And because of this agreement, we pushed back the potential walk-away date for the city of Peabody, which would be July 20th or so, and then the closing would be August 20th. I'm told by Weston & Sampson that they will have the data collected and all the information to put into a full report for us within about 3 months, which would give us plenty of time to review and make the necessary decisions to move forward or to take a step back. Happy to answer any more and give additional information on this item, but I think this is a great step for us and important work for us to do to make sure we're buying the property that we intend to use it for. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mayor, clarification on your comments. The walkaway date revised is now July 20th, and anticipated closing is what date in August?
Yep. Initially, what was presented was the walkaway date was July 15th. We've pushed that back to August, excuse me. It was June 15th. We've pushed that back to July 20th. The closing date we pushed back from July 15th to August 20th.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Questions from other councilors? Seeing none, Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we're only going for the listed 82.5, correct? Or
Well, we have a verbal request here from the mayor to handle this on the spot for the additional $56,500. So if there's no objections from the committee, I'd like to entertain that for the total adjusted amount of $139,000. I think if we were to delay that, it could impact these dates further, which I don't think we want to.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to transfer bond premiums reserve for projects, account number 2700000333015, in the amount of $139,000 to Ruslo site assessment, account number 300000058479202, again, in the amount of $139,000. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Turco,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Manning Martin,
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you,
Time to
councilors.
entertain a motion to adjourn. Heard the motion. All in favor, any opposed? The vote, we're adjourned.